Hello, today we are taking a look at M.A.R.I and the Crazy Factory from Lifestyle Board Games. Although the box is in French, the contents are in English and the game for the most part is language independent. This is a solo game slash a scenario driven puzzler. So let's see what we have inside. You're gonna get two things, the scenarios and the tokens. So the story behind this is there was a thunderstorm and it ruined the control center from our factory. However, M.A.R.I, our robot, woke up. M.A.R.I stands for Mobile Autonomous Robotic Intelligence, and she's the one we will be controlling. So, to do that, you'll find here a bunch of command tokens, which is how you will command M.A.R.I around. This is M.A.R.I, and these are some tokens that you won't need in the beginning, but some scenarios will make advantage of this. Then you have here the rulebook, which is just these two sheets. You have a hint sheet. Then you're gonna have 40 different scenarios, so these are double-sided, and as you can see, per the color, things get harder as you go along. And then you have two sheets with the solutions that tell you how you should move. So we are gonna set up one of the levels and we are gonna see how to play. Alright, so we have here scenario 10 ready to go. I decided to skip some to make it more interesting. A scenario is always comprised of these cards and they all work the same. So what do you have? You have M.A.R.I's starting position and orientations, because as you can see, she has an arrow and that's the orientation she starts with. So this is M.A.R.I's starting point. Our goal in every scenario is to get M.A.R.I to the exit square of the room, and we need to do that by using our control tokens without crossing through walls or without running out of command tokens, okay? So we know we start here and we know we want to go there. And how do we do this? We have here the list of commands we are allowed to use. I already got them ready right here. Every other control token just moves away. So we need to be able to use these command tokens to send M.A.R.I commands so that she gets to the exit room. So let's start right away. We would probably want her to go forward. How does it work? So you're gonna have maximum 5 turns because you have only 5 tokens. And each turn you're gonna pick a token and add it to your sequence. So the first token starts the sequence. Every other turn you're gonna have to add a new token to the sequence and execute the whole sequence. Whenever you add a token, you can add it to the beginning, to the end, or even in the middle, all right? So we know we would want to move forward, right? So we would add the command to move forward. And then let's say we want to go even more forward. What's gonna happen here is that now you need to execute the whole sequence. So you're gonna do 1, 2, and you're kind of putting yourself in the corner, because even if now you choose to turn, you are going to turn against a wall, and then you're going to send, okay, move forward against the wall, and that will not work. So let's try again to solve this puzzle. We still want M.A.R.I to move forward, but we already know that because this command is in the sequence, we already know we are going to finish in this slot, right? So we probably want to turn right. So let's take advantage of our turning 90 degrees clockwise token. You move forward and you turn right. All right. So with these commands, you know that you're going to move 1 and turn downwards. And you don't want to be facing downwards because probably that's not the way to go, as you will end up moving farther from your goal. So one thing you can do is do this token to counteract that token. And now you have a choice. You can put it here or you can put it in the middle. For this turn, the outcome will be the same, but you need to think forward. So because I already know the solution, I'll put it in the middle. So you'll move 1 forward, move counterclockwise 90 degrees, and move clockwise 90 degrees, and you're still facing the same direction. Now we are going to put this token over here and re-execute the sequence. You move once forward, turn counterclockwise, move forward, and turn clockwise. And now we are in the exit space and we have completed the puzzle. So the rule is that you need to be able to execute the whole sequence and still be in the exit square to win. This is to prevent something like this, where the last command would force you against a wall or outside the exit token. So you need to be able to execute the whole sequence, not just part of it, and still be in the exit square without going against a wall, etc. As you notice, this token was not used. In most scenarios, you will need all the control tokens that they give you, especially because that's also the amount of turns that you have to move M.A.R.I, all right? But in some scenarios, there are decoys, and this one was a decoy in this scenario. Maybe you need it, maybe you don't need it, all right? So that was scenario number 10. And now I'm just gonna explain you a different scenario so that you can see how it evolves. So we've jumped ahead to scenario 31, so a big jump, but this scenario introduces a new mechanic. And whenever a new mechanic is introduced, the game makes an easier scenario for you to learn. And what's being introduced here is the sliding door, which starts over there. We already know that M.A.R.I starts over there, so let's cover all the rules in this scenario that are different from the other one that you saw. First of all, there is the key. In order to finish a level that has a key, you always need to be able to capture a key before entering the exit space. Okay? That's rule number 1. Rule number 2 in this scenario that is new is that we have this sliding door. Once you capture the key, you can use the sliding door command to force it to move. You must move every time you exit that command, so you might even close the gate again. Alright? So in this scenario, those are the things that are new. We need to get there, we need to get the key, but we are forced to, because in this example one, because it's easier, there's no other way to get into this slot without moving into there. So let's take a look. We know that M.A.R.I is already pointing at the wall, so the first thing we are going to want is to force it to rotate. Okay, we rotate it counterclockwise, and now we know that we want her to go forward. So we are going to do a big jump, so she'll jump 2 slots, and then turn counterclockwise. Then we know that if we execute this, she's going to be here, pointing down. So now that we capture the key, we can use the slide door token, and we are going to do it. She's going to move forward 2, rotate 90 degrees, open the door, and now we know we are going to be able to go there, and we need to use one command at least, and this command will force us to move against the wall, we know this, so we'll use the harmless rotate somewhere. So we move 2, rotate, slide the door, and rotate again. Okay, so you'll notice that this scenario was again easier, but that's because we introduced the new door, and again, when new mechanics are introduced, they take a step back to allow you to learn it, but scenarios get harder. Now you know the basics of how to play M.A.R.I and the Crazy Factory. Of course, there are things I didn't cover, such as the other special tokens. For example, the hourglass just does nothing. It's basically an empty command. It can buy you a turn. There's the double, which doubles the next command. This one can be very useful. You have this cross. That means you don't execute anything after this token. This also gives way to new ways of thinking about your sequence, because part of your sequence will be nullified after you play this one. And then you have the turning clockwise and counterclockwise. The special thing about this token is that after you resolve this token, you flip it, and now it's going to be turning into another direction. So those are some of the special tokens we didn't cover before. And then there are some mechanics here. For example, this cog, you need to push the cog away so that you can enter the exit room. If you push the cog into the exit room, you'll lose. So one mechanic that we didn't see. The key we saw, as you can see, for example, here, the key is being introduced. You just need to capture the key, but there is no sliding door. Here we have a key with sliding door, as we saw before. And here, the special thing about this one, as you can see here, there's a red lock. That means that this command is your first command. It already starts in the sequence. So rather than you playing a command to create the sequence, your first command will create a sequence of 2 commands. So this can be a bit tricky. Sometimes it gives you direction, but it also limits how you play. So you need to really consider the puzzle when playing with those tokens. Now you know the basics of how to play M.A.R.I and the Crazy Factory. One thing I forgot to mention while explaining the puzzles, there are hints here to help you solve, and then there are these solution sheets that list the exact solution for each puzzle, and whenever a puzzle has more than one solution, it lists all of them. So what do I think about M.A.R.I? I really enjoyed it. It's a very clever puzzle. I would say the puzzles are not too hard. They are actually just right. Some are on the easier side, especially on the easier levels. But as you go on, the puzzles can brain burn you a little bit, all right? The thing I found is that if a puzzle is too hard, it can be frustrating to always have to start in the sequence, because you think, okay, there was only one token that I needed to change, and now I needed to restart the whole sequence. So I'm actually happy that most of the puzzles are doable. Sure, you need to think, sure, you need to try multiple times, but they are not impossible, but they are also not a 2-second thing, all right? So that was regarding puzzle complexity. Regarding puzzle variety, it's pretty neat. So as you go on, you discover more and more rules. That's pretty cool because then it doesn't get repetitive. It's not just a programmable movement, it's a programmable movement with moving things away or moving things in and out at the right time. I really like the 2x token because it allows you to pull off some very cool sequences. And I thought that the hints were not particularly useful sometimes. They were good, but at times like, okay, I'm still blocked after reading the hint. What I kind of did, if I was feeling that way, check the first command of the solution or the first and the second if you're struggling really. That can give you a bit of direction. Are they replayable? The scenarios? Kind of. So once you know the solution and that's it. But if you come back to this after a month, after half a year, after a year, you will not know the answer by heart for sure. Some of the puzzles are also on purpose similar, but with different commands you need to find a different solution. So that means you will very hardly ever just memorize the solution. Of course, if you play this every week, you will, but if you give it some time, it's still a nice challenge. One thing that I thought was funny was that this whole story about the robot going through the factory, and the robot has lines sometimes and talks about either thematic or just puzzly topics. I thought this reminded me a lot of Portal. I actually wish they had gone deeper and given more story to M.A.R.I, have her develop the story a lot more. In the end, you really just fix the factory and the control center, but if there was a bit more tidbits and a bit of story behind this largely abstract puzzle, it would have been really cute. As it stands, I really liked solving the puzzles. This is a very small box. This is an exit room sized box. You get 40 puzzles, each quite different. You get introduced new mechanics, so it also doesn't get repetitive. I think it's a very solid choice. You need to like these solo puzzles. You can try to play this co-op. I didn't, I just played it solo. I enjoyed these brain burners. To be honest, I did them multiple at a time. Every time I sat down, I played, I don't know, 8, 10, 15 levels, depending on the difficulty. So it's also very addictive because you can solve one in 5 minutes and you just go to the next one. So if you like this sort of puzzles, just check it out and have a nice day. Bye-bye.